Thank you once again for dropping back on my channel as I got a banging update regarding a major player on Shibarium. This one will be taking the Bone token to a whole new level. Now, I'm talking about Mantra Protocol. So we got the big boys in the house to give us more details. Buzz, why don't you tell us more about Mantra?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they've been really amazing supporters from the start. They immediately understood like what an LSD is and how that can bring more liquidity to Shibarium, and why that can be beneficial for other partner projects. And we had such a great phone call. It was probably over 6 weeks ago now. Just about the importance of other projects within Shibarium starting to use Canine Bone, which is our LSD token, as a payment currency and as a currency to build other products on top of, because that's going to encourage people to use the LSD, which well, as we all know and are learning in here, is going to lock up more bone and give more liquidity to Shibarium. So the one thing that I really love that came out of that conversation and this partnership is that Mantra is going to be adding Canine Bone and Canine as a payment token on their NFT marketplace, and it's as far as I know, it's one of the most high volume products on Shibarium, and the data that I've looked at, which is awesome. And they also have a NFT lending and borrowing product. I haven't personally used this product yet, but they're going to be using Canine Bone as a token that can be borrowed. So you could own an NFT, say it's worth $1,000, you'd be able to borrow against that to borrow Canine Bone, which also means that on the other side of that, there's an additional form of yield that'll be brought into people who are using our LSD. So if you've locked up Bone, you've received Canine Bone in return, you'll be able to lend out your Canine Bone and earn an interest rate through Mantra, where people are looking to get liquidity on their NFTs. So this is just going to be one of many integrations of utility that's really going to be promoting the use cases of what infrastructure and what an LSD can do on Shibarium. And I expect many more of these to come, but it's the first of many exciting announcements like this, and really proud to be working with Mantra as a first mover there for integration.
Big deal too, is when you're talking about all the liquidity coming over and having something to do with it. That's going to be the next question. Everything is still on track. This doesn't require a whole lot of update though, but everything's on track for product development, right? No changes have been made to the timeline. Testnet's still on track and everything, right?
Yeah, it's all on track. One great thing that I think the community is going to really love is like we've officially partnered with our auditing firm. They're a third party. They're called SourceHat, one of the best auditors in the industry, and they're basically overseeing all major deployments, all major transactions that are occurring. So anytime you see on Etherscan that a large number of tokens are being moved. So for example, like this morning, the on schedule, the taxes were changed on the contract. The many of the pre-sale tokens were sent to the vesting contract. That's all done through proposed transactions from our third-party auditor, and they're auditing all movements of tokens and all deployments and everything like that. So, and they're also working in Sidestep, understanding how critical this piece of infrastructure is for deployment, and how critical that testnet is going to be in Q2. So we're going to continue working with them as a trusted partner in that regard to make sure that when we're delivering products, just as how well and smooth our launch went and how much great feedback we've gotten on that, that's going to be the standard moving forward for how I think all projects should be working on Shibarium, and really treating this as though it's a very serious place to be developing serious critical products. So these are best practices that we're bringing to the community, and we're going to continue to do so.
I'd like to rewind back because you said two things there that are basically news for everybody here. And that was one, that the taxes on the token were already changed this morning. There was no announcement. There was no graphics. There was no post on X about that. And this is actually the first time I've had a call with Lightspeed and Buzz since then. And I'm going to pick on the two of them because I'm the Spaces host and I get to do that every now and then. This is the luxury I have. Buzz was specific about not making an announcement about it. And Buzz, correct me if I'm wrong, but your rationale behind it was there was nothing to say about it because it just didn't need to be talked about, right? Just do it. You said you were going to do it and do it, right? That was basically what you said. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean that's going to be the mantra, no pun intended, of this DAO going forward. Like if it's in
Okay.
our
Well,
light paper.
can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Okay, and I want to ask Chris this too because I'm wagering that Chris might be my counterpart to this, and he might have felt the same way. I might have felt like it was worth a graphic or an announcement because I think I'm arguing for certain members of the DAO, not just for myself. So this is all healthy DAO conversation, right? I wonder what people would prefer. Whether just changing the tax because and on one hand, just changing the tax and not telling everybody is what you said you were going to do. You did it. It's on the chain. Everybody can see it. If they're worried about it, it's there. Right. Done. Great. But on the other hand, people are coming into the chat and then they're asking, hey, has the tax changed yet? So should we, Lightspeed, I'll ask you, have maybe a system by where when that chat tax is changed, that a notification is made? Or is it better to just, like Buzz said, let it happen and let the action speak?
Yeah, my take is just that what we want to be doing is like if it's in our light paper, it's going to get done, and that's the responsibility of the management council to do so, and just the education process therein. Like when people are asking questions, if it's in our light paper, that's exactly how it's going to be executed. But yeah, I'll let Lightspeed comment on the necessity of announcements on small things like that.
Well, communication never helps, right? I mean, never hurts. And so there's plenty of other people. Even if the information gets out, it doesn't necessarily have to come from Buzz. Buzz has to focus on bigger and more important things. But there are plenty of moderators and communicators and stuff that can just, even if it's just a, hey, by the way, just letting y'all know, everything went just like planned. We're now at 9%. Just leave it at that. That's fine. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fancy graphic because that's time. Not
Sure.
much time, but it doesn't hurt to throw at least an informal message.
Yep. And I wouldn't want to imply, by the way, when I bring that up, because it's just the three of us up here, that I expect Buzz to do that. I'm just throwing this out there more as a thoughtful thing. So what you guys can say, if in the Telegram somebody comes in and they ask this in the future, they say, hey, why didn't you announce that the taxes were changed? Tell them maybe you can do that. Maybe you can be the person that watches for that. Maybe you can be the one that sees that transaction go through and you come in and you scream from the top of your lungs, hey, the taxes have changed, or whatever. So if people are concerned about it, because it has been done, and I did see people in the chat today because it's the first day that it's supposed to happen. People are just wanting to make sure that the things, like Buzz said, they just want to know that things are happening the way that they are supposed to happen. It goes all the way back to what I said earlier about confidence. And where I'm at with this, Buzz, I definitely don't want you to do a damn thing more than you're already doing, but I do think for some people who don't know how Etherscan works, they do need to be spoon-fed. And I might even have to make airplane noises just to get them to eat it, right? But they're going to want to see it. And it's not because they're going to run and sell. They're not waiting for the taxes to go down. They just want to know that the diligence is getting done, that the books are getting balanced and stuff like that. So the other thing you brought up, I'm going to switch it over to this because I think this is also something that was a source of FUD that we need to talk about. You changed that first wallet that had all the tokens. That's no longer as large as it was, right? When you say the tokens were moved to the vesting contracts, can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, like when we say like we just need to kind of get sort of the cadence and sort of like proper verbiage within the DAO. Like it is, like I said, all being done like through a third party auditor. Like no one person actually has undue influence over what's going on with those tokens and things like that, which is the right way that a DAO should be operated. And yeah, the first tranche. So many of the tokens that were purchased in the pre-sale were transferred to the vesting contract. And the vesting contract, if you go to the footer of our website, you can pull up the vesting portal. You'd be able to see that contract on Etherscan. And if you do have pre-sale tokens that were purchased, you should be able to connect your MetaMask there to see your vesting schedule and like when your tokens are coming and things like that. So that was a really important step that the auditors took to get that set up in concert with our team. And yeah, the next tranche of tokens, just due to the size of these transactions, will likely happen in the middle of next week.
Excellent. I know that there are blockchain watchers and stuff that anytime tokens move, they're going to get concerned about it. So it's just important for them to know where they're going and what that's all about. So any information, like we said, transparency helps, makes people understand what's going on. So we're 45 minutes in, minus the small 5-minute warm up. So about 45 minutes, give or take, and being respectful of time. I don't want to drag everybody through much more. We had a lot, like I said, it's been a week, but it felt like a lot more than a week, I think, depending on the amount of news you had to go over. I did pin a few posts up top that you've probably already looked at if you've been in the listener spots. The first one was the announcement of the live token. That's just up there for reference. The second one was the announcement of the partnership with Mantra and what's going on with them. And that's going to be something that as that develops, as Canine Bone becomes available, I think that's going to make a lot more sense to people. If you've never used Mantra, if you're not on Shibarium and you're not trading NFTs over there, I don't know what you're doing, but that would be the place to check it out. Go check out Mantra as part of our partnership. And the third one was Mario's post from last Saturday. The recording is still available from last Saturday's Spaces. We were the host on that one, and we had a number of guest speakers come up, Mario Newfall, and all of our management advisors came up, and we had a great conversation, kind of a celebration party. So if you haven't had a chance to listen back, there's a lot of information in there, including a speech from Shytoshi Kusama himself in the middle of that. So there's your recorded space. Make sure you listen back to that one, the soothing sounds of canine finance. Before we start wrap-ups or anything, Buzz, are we missing anything that's on your list? Is there anything for Buzz's Corner that we could get into? I think now is your time for Buzz's Corner, because I've gone through all my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to highlight like a tweet that I made, actually 2 tweets that I made in the last week. So the first one is just like basically expressing gratitude, and like I had this memory come up in my phone. I think it was the day after TGE, and it was a picture of myself and Vitalik, and it was, I think, like 7 years ago, where I was sitting in a room where Vitalik was speaking at a university in front of, there was about 30 developers there, and he was teaching people how to build on Ethereum, how Solidity works, like what is EVM, like what's an ERC20 token, and these relatively basic concepts that we all know now, to encourage the developers in that room to start building on Ethereum and starting to teach them about that, and just so appreciative about my position as a development and developer advocate for Shib and Shibarium, and just looking back at that memory that 7 years ago, that's where I was, and somebody like Vitalik, as large as he was, took the time to teach builders how to build on Ethereum, and took the time to help and foster growth for the chain, and just so grateful to be in a position where I could have even a small amount of impact compared to him, a very small amount of impact, but shepherding more development activity to Shibarium, and that was just a great reflection point for me, and something that I'm going to take very seriously for the community, to build Canine in such a way where other developers can come in and build on top of it. And some of those discussions are already starting with the integration of Canine into the various hackathons, having abilities for new developers and things like that to work for bounty programs and pitch their products that they want to build on Shibarium, and receive forms of grant funding to deploy those products and have them usable on Shibarium. So that's really exciting. And I wanted to point out another story in our community too, just on the in line with how this is a DAO, and how people can really get involved and be a valued member of the community. So there was an individual who joined our Telegram. I think it was he may have joined like the first day of the launch, or maybe the day after, and initially, like, he had some skepticism about K9, and our moderators did such a great job of explaining how it works, sending him official materials on the light paper, the DAO charter, and what's really being built here with K9. And this individual was somebody who had been doing crypto-based YouTube videos before. He hadn't done any videos in about 2 years, and from somebody coming into the chat and having skepticism about wanting to get involved in Canine, become educated by people who are in our community, and then he decided on his own intuition to purchase the proper equipment to start doing his own YouTube videos again. And he actually published his first video yesterday on Canine, and it was incredible. It was one of the best videos that I've ever seen that somebody has made, explaining the product explaining why they wanted to get involved in the SHIB ecosystem in general. And that was just such a powerful story to me, and such a testament to organic community growth, where somebody can come into the channel, ask very pointed questions, get the answers and education from the community that they need, and become such a strong supporter, and take initiative to spread the word and build their own content out. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them. I'm not sure if he would want his name to be mentioned on spaces like this, but I did put a tweet out about that yesterday. I would encourage anyone here to give him a subscribe on YouTube, like the video, share my post to get him some more visibility. But that was such a powerful story to me, and one of my favorite thus far with the K9 unit.